For a long time, humans and trolls lived in harmony. Eventually Christianity took over Europe and it was intolerant of the old myths. King Olaf of Norway sent out his soldiers to drag the trolls out of the caves in the sunlight, which turned them all to stone. The soldiers traveled the country to kill every troll they could find, and soon the trolls became scared of Christian symbols like church bells. The massacre left the land without a single troll to be seen. This story was told to a little girl by her father before bedtime, inspiring her to become a paleontologist. 30 years later in the Jotunheim Mountains, a mysterious land enters a cave. As he looks around he's jumped on by Nora, who starts beating him up and Ethan gets ready to stab him. However, she stops when she realizes this is her colleague Andreas. He notices that there are many books about myths on the table and wonders what kind of research she's doing there, but she refuses to talk about it. Andreas has come to ask Nora for her help, since 3 years ago her knowledge helped the military defeat a huge troll they found in the mountains. She even was part of the troll commission, but she quit when she realized the new government wasn't different from the previous corrupt one. Now she has a restraining order from the palace. Among her things he finds his book, and Nora thanks him for dedicating it to her dad, who died during the last troll attack. Andreas points out that her father would have liked her to see what he's found and Nora finally agrees to go. During the helicopter ride, Andreas makes Nora sign a confidentiality agreement. Instead of her name, she writes tiny trolley bully. They arrive at the Fort Power Station and meet with Professors Muller and Wangel, who also were around during the last troll attack. The professors take Nora down a tunnel while telling her about the Allied sabotage operations during World War II. They claimed it was a race to develop the first atomic bomb, but that was just a cover for the search written, a massive troll that now appears in front of Nora's eyes. There are several scientists conducting research on his troll and UV lights have been installed around her for safety. Project leader and evolutionary biologist Marion introduces herself and reveals she didn't want Nora to get involved. Andreas points out that the project wasn't making any progress and it would get shut down, so he had to act. Marion explains that the troll is hibernating and the only sign of life is pulse, but his DNA has more in common with plants than humans. Then Andreas takes Nora to an office, where they meet with Sigrid, who is also part of their last adventure. Andreas and Sigrid got together and now she's pregnant. In this world there are thousands of ancient texts about trolls, including Olaf's original troll law from the year 1030. There's a part missing, but it appears to expel the trolls from his land. The group is worried that there may be more trolls hiding in the country and they want to be ready in case of another attack, so they beat Nora to. Unsure what to do, Nora tells them she needs the bathroom and leaves, but she actually returns to the room with Gearton. She takes the elevator to the highest platform and touches his nose as she starts to hum. Nora is disappointed when nothing happens, but the main computer detects a change in files. When she's about to leave, Gearton wakes up and looks at her. The group rushes into the room as the troll starts to move, only to discover he's chained up. Lola orders the guard to activate the UV lights, but Marion doesn't want to kill the troll, so she spills coffee on the controls. The machine sparks and the lights stop working. While Nora gets in the elevator, everyone at the building panics and runs away. Gearton breaks the chains and hits the elevator, sending the cabin flying. Nora holds on and manages to survive when the elevator slides to the ground, although Andreas has to open it and help her. Mulder sees a troll symbol rolling near him and takes it before running away too. Gearton is already advancing through the lab and steps on Wangel, instantly killing him. Andreas and Nora join Sigrid and Barry on the stairs and rush to the emergency exit to escape. At that moment, Gearton destroys the building to get out and stares at the group for a second before walking away. Nola's labor helicopter takes the jeep to an Air Force base at Reich, where they meet with another friend from their previous adventure, Chris, who has been promoted to major. While they wait in a conference room, Nora starts arguing with Marion for not taking better care of the agent. They're interrupted by the arrival of Prime Minister Bridgman, who says he always thought the project was too risky. Marion still wants to capture the troll for research, while Nora points out that you can't control the forces of nature. Bridgman would love to continue the research, but his priority is saving his people, so he wants the military to kill Gearton. Nora gets furious because last time they killed an innocent troll, so Bridgman reveals he lost his brother during that attack and he doesn't want to make the same mistakes. After the meeting, Andreas sees Nora holding a piece of stone. It's part of the last troll they kill, and she carries it as a reminder of her errors. Andreas reveals he did the same and says that people grow from mistakes so they can keep fighting. Feeling inspired, Nora drives Andreas to Chris' meeting with his team. He gives them instructions on how they'll attack the troll and sends them to get ready. Nora tries to ask Chris to let her come and Chris says no, so Nora changes his mind by saying he owes it to her father who was killed by the last troll. Varian also joins them and Chris shows them that the military has equipped their choppers with UV lights for troll hunt. Meanwhile, in a ski resort in Westkarul, people are having fun drinking and dancing. Suddenly, the building starts shaking as a disco ball falls in the middle of the dance floor. The crowd hears them growling before the Yutun breaths off the ceiling and cheats inside. Everyone takes pictures until Yutun roars and reaches the sky, causing them to panic and throw. Guests start getting hurt as they push each other and parts of the building start falling. Yutun keeps reaching inside to grab as many people as he can to eat them without even stirring. Soon the helicopters arrive and turn on the UV lights. On a flight near the troll, they bury several spots on his body. They manage to pull this off twice before Yutun tosses an electric pole at them, causing severe damage to one of the choppers. Chris checks on his fellow pilot, who tells him it's been an honor to fight with him. His helicopter then goes down or crashes in a big explosion that kills everyone inside. Chris is furious and hungry for revenge, but his chopper has received some damage too, and Nora tells him not to do anything stupid. As Chris stares at his enemy, Yutun decides to breathe. Afterward, Chris approaches the crash site to say a few words for his friend. Varian can't believe the trolls with its ruthless, but Nora clarifies the last one wasn't like this. He only wanted to go home. She thinks they behave like this because humans have been mistreating them for years. Andreas wonders if they can communicate with Yutun, and Nora says she knows someone to may help. In Lysia, a man who lost his house during the last attack has finally finished repairing it. Suddenly the table shakes and its dog barks like crazy. Soon Yutun shows up and steps on the house, destroying it again. In the Dover Mountains, the group arrives at a restricted military area, finds a piece of broken fence to go through. They enter an old cave and Andreas finds a sticky substance on the wall. Nora explains that this is a hunting kit that was used to kill the troll king. They kidnapped this child and hid it there to lure the king to his death. There are Christian symbols carved into the box to inflict maximum damage. Nora says that the troll king survived the trap. In fact, it was the troll they fought 3 years ago. However, the remains of the troll child were never found. When the group reaches a kit, Nora taps the troll king's stone on the ground and asks the others not to freak out. Suddenly, a troll appears in front of them and Nora confirms this is the child from the story. She's come to this stage many times over the last 3 years so the troll could be comfortable about it. She shows him his father's stone, and after he sniffs it, she pets his nose. Like she hums, the troll takes happy little notice of so much. Andreas is impressed and curious, so Nora teaches him how to do it. He touches the nose and hops, getting a good reaction from the troll. Since the creature has no name, Nora calls him beautiful. She gets serious and asks the troll for a favor. In Wolverland, Nora sees Yutun repress as she shoots a flare gun in Ida. Beautiful then rises from the still and both trolls start growling at each other. Andreas wants to open fire, but Marion stops it. When Beautiful lords, Yutun britishly stomps on the ground to crack the ice. Nora starts running as fast as possible and ends up falling, so Chris has to help her up. Sadly, Beautiful doesn't react in time and falls into the freezing water, struggling to stay afloat for a few seconds before he finally sinks. Yutun then comes after the group, so they run to get into the helicopter. When it takes off, Yutun tries to knock it down, but they manage to dodge and fly away. Nora has a breakdown as she stares into the hole where Beautiful sank. At their ambulance base, Nora tells Marion the story of how he managed to bring Beautiful out of the cave pots. He didn't try to destroy anything. He just sat down and looked at the stars for a while before going back to the cave where he felt safe. The group looks at a map tracking Yutun's journey and Marion realizes it's the Pilgrim's Route, which goes north to Nidaros. Nora checks her notes and remembers her father's stories. Nidaros was the capital back then and Olaf flew from there. This means Yutun's goal is revenge. They fly to Trondheim to meet Esther, an old friend of Nora's dad. She shows them the Nidaros Cathedral, which was built between 1070 and 1300 and was later renamed the heart of Norway. Here the church ruled the country without mercy. Since they're entering a church, Chris needs his weapons at the entrance. Nora explains she's here for Olaf's tomb, so Esther guides them through an underground tunnel. She wonders why the church in Olaf, since he supposedly was very important to them, guessing that they had a disagreement. They enter an empty room and Esther explains that people have been looking for the tomb for years to no avail. Varian notices the same symbol they saw in the cave, so the group starts searching too. They find a mural of Olaf on a wall, and when Andreas touches it, a small piece falls and meets a hole in Olaf's stomach. Esther remembers that during the final battle, Olaf was wounded in his belly, his thigh, and his neck. She touches all of the spots and pieces of the wall come loose to reveal holes where the wound should be. Nora inserts torches in the holes, and as she starts turning them, they can hear mechanical noises in the wall. When the 3 torches are fully turned, a door appears and Andreas helps her open. The group enters the chamber on the other side and finally finds Olaf's tomb in the middle of a pot. Nora wants to open the coffin and Esther thinks it'd be disrespectful, so Nora has to remind her that it's an emergency. They push the heavy leg together and inside they find Olaf's skeleton holding a sword. Since it's made of silver, hands are rusted, but it also means it's useless as an actual weapon. Inside Olaf's pocket they find a missing piece of the troll law. The group leaves the chamber to send a picture of the paper to Sigrid, who puts it together with a half an instant. Now they can read the complete text and learn that Olaf was against kicking the trolls out of the country. The church killed him so they could carry on the massacre. Jotun doesn't want revenge on Olaf. He wants revenge on humanity. Meanwhile, videos of the attack on the resort and the man's destroyed house have gone viral and are appearing on media all over the world. The governments of other countries are worried about what the troll may do and threaten to take action if necessary. Bridgman appears at a press conference and explains they're evacuating all the people on the pilgrim's route, but he has no answer for the reporter asking how they'll solve this. Chris is called back to the base, but he ignores the message and stays with his friends so they can fight together. The group wonders what Olaf used to fight trolls back in the day, since silver isn't strong. Nora remembers the pond and dips a knife in holy water before touching the Troll King's stone with it. The stone immediately breaks in half, confirming the trolls are weak to holy water. Afterward, Chris and Marion run to talk to the people being evacuated and ask for their help. The crowd cheers, ready to defend their country. Wallister teaches Andreas how to ring the church bells. A line forms from the pond to the military trucks to transport buckets of holy water that the soldiers miss to fill their weapons. In the evening, Jotun finally shows up and brings down a few buildings as he makes his way to the church. Esther and Andreas start ringing the bells, which hurts Jotun's ears and slows him down. Then the soldiers open fire and a holy water ammo hits Jotun's body in several spots, slowly hurting him. Jotun loses his mind and throws a tree at the church, destroying the bells. Andreas and Esther manage to run before they can get hurt. The soldiers keep on shooting, but the damage caused by holy water isn't as effective as they expected and Jotun continues to advance. First blows up the line of explosives they've installed on the ground and this time the burns are severe, but the troll is still alive. The bird starts running as Jotun comes for them, but he freezes when he hears a roar. To everyone's surprise, Beautiful is back and ready to throw down. Both trolls get into the river and start to fight with mighty strikes. Jotun manages to punch Beautiful quite brutally and throws him onto the bridge, destroying the structure and causing the troll to fall into the water. Nora is desperate to help her friend and she doesn't know what to do. Marion remembers that Jotun has a pulse, so she thinks they should attack him from the inside so the holy water can destroy his heart. They only have one bomb left, so they'll have to be careful. Jotun continues to beat Beautiful up in the river and break stretchers to use as weapons for even more damage. While Chris and Andreas get him the chopper, Nora and Marion run ahead to shoot Jotun. It doesn't do much damage, but at least it keeps him distracted, although Beautiful is still stuck in the water under its enemy's foot. Chris has to turn the helicopter to fly around the troll and the bomb slides out. Andreas rushes to grab it just in time, but the detonator falls on the street and breaks. This means the only way to detonate the bomb now is a grenade, but someone will have to go down with it. Andreas knows what he must do, so he calls Sigrid to say a final goodbye, although the connection ends before they're done. At that moment, Beautiful passes out and the women run out of ammo. Marion runs, but Nora refuses to get up. As a helicopter finally reaches Jotun's head and Andreas jumps out with the grenade in the bomb. Jotun swallows everything and the grenade explodes, sending holy water through the troll's whole body. Its hard skin starts to burn and the pain weakens him enough for a recovering Beautiful to reach into his chest and rip his heart out. Jotun's body falls as it disintegrates in the river. Sometime later, the church is being repaired and Esther opens an exhibition to teach the real story of Olaf. Sigrid has the baby and Chris becomes a fun uncle. Beautiful is now allowed to roam in the mountains and visits Nora's cabin regularly. In the meantime, Roller has been working on the sampling stool. It's now grown into a mini troll,